What makes a graphic design artwork stand out among the lot is the right application of layout. Now, to be a very good graphic designer, it is very important to master the skill of applying layout in your artwork. Hi, my name is Sam. Welcome to another exciting episode on our channel. Today, I'm going to take you through the principles of layout and also explain to you what layout is. Stay tuned. Layout design is a fundamental branch of graphic design that concerns the arrangement of text and visuals. The effectiveness of every type of design, from print to web, is largely influenced by layout. An effective layout does not only look at attractive, but also help the viewer to understand the message the design is conveying. In other words, understanding layout is a key when it comes to creating user-friendly, engaging designs, particularly in the realms of web design and advertising. Before we dive in, let's make sure we are clear on what layout design even is. Layout design refers to the arrangement of visual elements within a grid in order to convey a particular message. The latter part of this definition is key. If a layout doesn't read well to the viewer, the design is ineffective, no matter how trendy it looks. Grids are useful in layout design because they help structure and organize content. Although grids are not visible in the user-facing design, it is easy to tell at a glance whether a layout follows a grid system. Later on, we'll discuss grids in more details and look at some real-world examples of grids in action. With this understanding, let's have a look at the 6th principle in layout design. First principle to consider is called negative space. We often think that silence, emptiness, or less color is bad for us. We take them for granted without thinking that they are the solid foundation for the contrast. Basically, negative space or white space, as it is often called, is the area of the layout that is left empty. Negative space is a kind of breathing room for all objects on the page or screen. Not only does it define the limit of the object, but it also creates the necessary bounds between them and builds an effective visual performance. Let's consider these two artworks. On the first design, I have made deliberate mistakes designers often do. They try to fill out the negative space as much as possible by scaling out the text and images. The idea they normally have is to make the element bold and visible. The problem by doing this make the design busy and disorganized. Having a clear space around element make the design more comfortable to look at, also making it easy for the viewer to obtain information easily. Now let's take a look at sample 2. You can see that the logo is nicely separated and size reduced. It is not fighting for attention. The image is standing out, having enough space to breathe. The text is still visible and it will be more visible when printed on documents. There is also a nice separation of the contact details from the information text, making it easy for the viewer to follow through. When you compare the second option, it looks more attractive, easy on the eye, even though the first option has bigger elements in it. Second on our list is repetition. Repetition is the reuse of the same or similar element throughout the design. Now, this is not to be mistaken for a repetition of visual element as a pattern. Visual element as a pattern has more to do with visual style or visual artwork in an overall piece of design work. Good design practice seek to repeat some aspect of a design throughout a piece of a simple or complex work. We use repetition to create a sense of unity and consistency throughout a design. Repetition creates a particular style, creates cohesiveness, creates emphasis, hierarchy structure, and strengthens a design. Repetition can be seen also through the color scheme of your design, the typeface you use, and the style of graphics you use. Using the same graphics, same color, and same typeface create repetition in your artwork. In this artwork, the most striking thing you see is the color scheme used. This color scheme is seen throughout the entire design, from the logo to the typography to illustration to even the call to action button. You can also notice that the font type used run through the entire design. Repetition can help unify your design and as a whole make things appear more professional. Number 3 on our list is proximity. Imagine walking into a room full of people and being asked to determine who knew each other. What would you look for? One of the simplest things you could consider is the physical relationship between people. If two people are standing right next to each other, then there is a better chance that they know each other than two people who are on the opposite end of the room. Proximity describes the relationship between elements within a design based on the distance between them. The basic premise and the rule governing this principle are pretty straightforward. Things that are related should be closer together. Things that are unrelated should be far apart. This suggests that the element in your design that does not have a link or a relationship should not be put together, and the ones that are linked or have a relationship should be put together. When used correctly, proximity will help you organize and structure your design, as well as indicating to the viewer certain cues and information. In this artwork, you can clearly see which of the elements are grouped together. On the left side has the image and illustration of the artwork. Here you will not find any call to action button or text. The right side has the text and call to action button, but they are clearly grouped accordingly. The heading and the text content is grouped together using proximity. Below that is the call to action button, nicely separated from the text. This makes it has its own space and left alone. This makes it easier to be seen by the viewer, since the main reason for the information above is to click on the button eventually. And finally, the social media icons are also grouped within their own space. In the right section, we have 3 groups pointing to separate information. This is the best way to apply proximity. The fourth principle on our list today is focal point. In just about any design you do, the most important thing you want to establish is the focal point. As a graphic designer, your job is to communicate an idea or a product to the viewer. Your design has to have a purpose behind it. The focal point is a hotspot to grab attention and lure readers into the design itself. It can be a shape, image, size, or even typography. A good contrast can create a great focal point for your design as well. When establishing a strong focal point, the first step you need to take is to understand what you are trying to get across to the viewer. What is the design intended to do? Should it sell a product, convey information, or simply entertain? Remember that graphic design is communication through different visual elements, and focal point will let you achieve that. In this example, the point of focus is the image of the guy praying. The image is very huge, taking up a lot of space. The image is also having a nice contrast with the background, making it easy to catch the attention of the eye. Notice how the image itself is pointing to the title. This is the same way the eye of the viewer is directed when they have a look at the artwork. Some very important things you want to steer clear when designing a graphic that can really confuse the viewer are designs with too many colors. Find a color palette that works for your particular design and what you are trying to communicate. Too many graphics can also hurt the layout or design. Sure, you may have created some really appealing elements. That does not mean they should all be put in one piece of artwork. Inconsistent placement of different elements within the design can also destroy the flow of things and muddy the focal point. Number 5 on our list is contrast. Contrast simply means difference between two design elements in terms of appearance or nature. No matter the artwork you are working on, the ability to establish contrast is one of the most important things to consider. Contrast is something people are drawn to, but it is one of those things that, when done correctly, shouldn't really be noticed. A perfect example of contrast is black and white, and day and night. To create contrast, you need to consider color, typeface, size of object, and shape. Contrast attracts the eye, adds visual interest to a composition. The utilization of contrast in this artwork starts from the top. The title is in white while the background is in red. Another contrast used can be seen with the background of the design having some parts being red and the other part being white. The image is black on a red and white background, making the image stand out. When you take a look at the bottom part of the design, the text contents has contrast, identifying the heading from the body by using size and color. You see, the entire design uses a contrast of black and red with a mix of white. To create interest and attention in the design, then you have to apply contrast at a higher level. The sixth principle on our list for today, and the last principle, is alignment. Alignment is the height of the golden rule of graphic design. Whether you are working on a poster, flyer, logo, imagery, or any design in general, you should always be mindful of alignment. Alignment is the placement of visual elements so they line up in a composition. In design, we should use alignment to organize elements, to group elements, to create balance, to create structure, to create connection between elements, to create a sharp and clear outcome. There are two alignment principles: the center alignment and the edge alignment. The center alignment is aligned to center line down the middle or across the horizontal, whilst the edge alignment is either to the left, right, top or bottom. Alignment of elements on a print page or web page serves to create order and convey harmony. Organize page elements, group items, create visual connections. From the artwork, the first point of alignment in this artwork is the fasting and prayer text in the center of the artwork. At the bottom left, the text content there is aligned to the left, whilst the date is also aligned to the right. Well, you have it. These are the 6 principles to consider when you are doing layout design. I hope today's lesson was fun. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button so that anytime we upload lesson, you will not miss out. Thank you. See you next time.